What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the Camden Bell podcast. I will be your host, and I'm sure for these first few episodes, it's just gonna be me. I'm sure I at some point I will definitely have other people on, just because I feel like that's gonna be really fun to do and really enjoyable. But as of right now, as I'm trying to navigate through all this, it'll just be me. I'm just gonna start off by saying a little bit about myself, and then kind of saying why I wanted to do this, and then getting into what I want the lesson to be today. This is going to be a short one. I'm hoping 10 to 15 minutes. I don't want to come out the gate and just bore people with a hour-long video, which I probably can't do right now, but I don't even want to try that. But, yeah, start off. My name is Camden Bell, obviously, if you can't tell from the poster behind me and my beautiful setup that I have in the corner of my room. I am a senior in high school. I am committed to play basketball next year at Taylor University in Upland, Indiana. I love God. I want to help people get closer to God. I want to help people become better versions of themselves every day. And yeah, those are a lot of the reasons why I wanted to do this. I like helping people. I like helping people get close to God. I want people to, get a relationship with God, and I want people to be happy with their relationship with God and where they're at in their walk with God. So anything that I can do, anything that God can use me to do to help him do that would be great, and I'm all for it. So really I'm going to get into what I want the lesson to be today. Like I said, it's not going to be a long one, but hopefully it's a meaningful one that you guys can get something out of, and hopefully I can do a good enough job to where you guys want to listen again. So to start off the lesson for today, in episode 1, the first official episode, is going to be love like Jesus. I think it's a really important thing to look at, because I think if there's one thing that at least I take away from Jesus is his love. A lot of times we didn't deserve it. People hated him. He was perfect. He was the most perfect person ever, but people still found a way to hate on him, and he still loved him. So I think that's a big thing. If we can take some stuff from him, that's one of the main things. Really, I'm just going to talk about some verses, examples of him doing it, and how we can do it, so that we can learn from it and we can try to be more like him and more godly. First off, I'm going to get into the verses. And this is what the scripture says about it. The first one I have is John chapter 13, verses 34 and 35. And it says, "A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another." I think it's a really cool verse. I think when you start to read it, it makes you start thinking. Jesus is talking to John, and he says, if you love other people how I have loved you, if you love each other how I have loved you, people will know that you follow me. People will know that you're my disciple. People will know that you love me and you're following me. And I think that's cool, because it's like he's literally telling us, if you try to love how I have loved you, then that's a good start. That's one way for people to know, okay, he or she is they follow God. They're a disciple of God. And I think that's really important for us, because I know for all humans, it's easy to not be filled with love. It's easy for if somebody does you wrong, or if somebody hurts your feelings, or if somebody annoys you, it's just easy to try to distance yourself from the person, or just not have anything to do with them. But that's not the way to do it. I know that from personal experience, it's if somebody hurts me, it's I don't want to talk to him, or I don't want to say nice things about him. But it's the more and more I come to God for help, and I look in the Bible, it's you see that that's not the way to do it. And it's easy to act out of anger, but it's not the right thing to do. It's harder to, if somebody does you wrong, to still act out of love and compassion, and I think it's a really important thing to do, because if that's the most effective way to fix, if somebody does you wrong and you act out of anger and you're all mean and you say things to them, they'll feel bad. But the way to fix it, the way to get your point across, if you act out of love and compassion after they hurt you, if you're the one that got hurt and you're the one that's still being nice, compassionate, and loving, that'll fix the problem way faster. Because that person will want to fix it and they'll feel bad and they'll want to fix it way more. It's hard to like understand, because you think like, oh, if I let the person know that I'm mad at him, like if I let him know that I'm not happy, it's gonna fix it. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously they know you're mad at them, but if you can know that they hurt you or know that they did you wrong and still act out of love and compassion, it's a way better problem solver. And I think we should all take something from that, because although, like I said many times, it's not easy, it's the right thing to do. And if you need help, go to God. Ask God for help, because that's the most important thing. You can't do it by yourself. The next verse I have, and all these verses, both of them, I have two of them, they're both in John, the book of John. I think there's a lot of good stuff in the book of John, and this just goes to show that. So the next one I have is John chapter 4, verse 8. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. It's just another verse that's like showing that God is love. That's what he is. He's love. He's mercy. He shows us love when we probably don't deserve it, and I think that it's so amazing that we have a God that does that for us, like there's a lot of people that you may feel like don't deserve your love or attention, but it's not the case. Nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to come up short. And there's nothing we can do to be perfect. Nothing anybody can do. Me, you, anybody. Like, you cannot be perfect. But love is always the way to solve it. And I'll read it again. It says, whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. It says God is love. If God is love, why would you not want to show love? Why would you want to act out of anger if God is love? Anger is the opposite of love, and we know what the opposite of God is. Why would you want to be closer to that when you could act out of love and be more like him? Do what he would do. You know what I mean? We're tempted to act out of anger all the time, and it's a temptation that a lot of people fall to, and it's an easy one to fall to, but it's so worth it to go to God if you're struggling. If you're like, God, this person did me wrong, or this person said this and I didn't like it, it's so fulfilling to go to God with that and talk to him, and then handle the situation completely differently than you think you would have. There's been a few times recently where I've been upset or been mad, and I've just tried to ask God, how am I supposed to handle this? I don't want to handle it out of anger. I don't want people to see me like that. And I've handled it better, and it makes you feel better. It makes you feel like a better person, And that's the most important thing, is God would not tell you to do something that you're not supposed to do, that he wouldn't want you to do. So it says in the word to act out of love, not anger, not bitterness, love. And I think it's a really important thing, but it's also a thing that doesn't get talked about as much as it probably should have. I think it's just it's a meaningful thing that a lot of people have a hard time with. And now, examples of Jesus doing it. For my example, it's another example in the book of John. I'm actually going to go into my Bible for this. It's John chapter 8. We'll get there somehow. Okay. John chapter 8, verses 1 through 11. This is the story of the woman who was caught in adultery. And so it starts, but Jesus went to the Mount of Olives, At dawn he appeared again in the temple courts, where all the people gathered around him, and he sat down to teach them. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought in a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group and said to Jesus, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. Now what do you say?" They were using this question as a trap in order to have a basis for accusing him. But Jesus bent down and started to write on the ground with his finger. When they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, "Let any of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." Again, he stooped down and wrote on the ground. At this, those who heard began to go away, one at a time, and the older ones first, until only Jesus was left with the woman still standing there. Jesus straightened up and asked her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" "No one, sir," she said. "Then neither do I condemn you," Jesus declared. "Go now and leave your life of sin." So basically, Jesus is teaching these people, and the teachers, they bring this woman who was caught in adultery, and they bring her to Jesus, and they tell her how she's guilty and what she did, and Jesus' response is, when they're asking him, well, the law says that we should stone her. What do you think we should do? When they're asking for his opinion, he says, "Let any of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." Basically, like I said, none of you are perfect either. All of you that brought her here are not perfect. So whenever one of you guys are perfect, you can be the one to stone her. And so everybody starts to leave. And when they start to leave, it's just the woman and Jesus left. And Jesus says, "Has no one condemned you?" And she says, "No one, sir." And he says, "Neither do I. Neither do I condemn you." And then he said, "Go now and leave your life of sin." Jesus very well, he could have done what the other people were doing. He could have said things. He could have like belittled her, but he didn't. He didn't condemn her. He said, "Go now and leave your life of sin." It just shows how loving he is. He forgives you, and it's all things that we should try to do. It's a great story to read, but it's all about love and compassion. And I think that's the main thing, that if you take away one thing from today and one thing from Jesus, that the love and compassion. When people do you wrong, don't stoop to that level. If people mess up, they know they messed up. You don't need to belittle them. You don't need to deal with it with love and compassion. It's a big thing, and I think it's hard to do, but I think we all really need to do it. Once again, I think it's a really good story to read. It has a lot of good meaning. But this is that story flows into how are we supposed to do it then? And I think the main thing of how we're supposed to do it is just remembering that nobody's perfect. I think that's the first thing. If something happens, the first step is don't get angry. Because a lot of people, if something happens, the first thing they do is get angry. It's like, oh, or they deal with it with a bad emotion. And don't do that. First thing you should do is go to God with it. Somebody, if something happens that you don't like or don't enjoy, go to God with it. Ask him what you should do. I think that oftentimes we go to God with it, but it's too late after we've already acted on something. And it's like, yeah, it's good you went to God, but it wasn't the first thing you wanted to do. And that needs to be the first thing we want to do is when something happens, don't deal with it ourselves, because we can't deal with it ourselves. We're always going to make the wrong decision if we try to deal with it ourselves. But if you ask God for help, that's when you have the best chance, and you're going to deal with it the right way. God should be the first person you come to when you have an issue, because he won't steer you the wrong way. Your flesh, yourself, you will steer yourself the wrong way. God will tell you to go this way, but your flesh will tell you to go the opposite way. And that's, you don't want to do that. It's a hole you don't want to go down. So I think how we can do it is, it's kind of try to make it in three pieces. The first thing you got to do is you got to go to God. The next thing you got to do is you got to try to fill yourself with love and compassion. That's the first two things. You know, if you go to God, you have to listen to him. If you think he's telling you to deal with it this way, you got to deal with it that way. Even if it's uncomfortable or feels like it's not right, that's how you got to do it, you know? And the third and final thing, I think, is, you know, after going to God with it, dealing with love and compassion, is forgiving. That's a really important thing, you know? After you talk to the person and you talk to him about it, not in a mean way, not in an angry way, you talk to him still lovingly and with compassion, you got to forgive him. And you have to really forgive him. It's a hard thing to do, but it's easy for people to say, oh, I forgive you. But you don't really forgive him. It's still in you. You still have that built up anger in your heart. So I think you have to forgive people. You have to know that, once again, you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You know, if you're going to be mad at somebody for that, be mad at yourself, because you're not perfect either. You know, I think it's so easy to forget it. Like, it's like I'm sitting here now and saying, oh yeah, I'm not perfect. I can't be mad at people because I'm not perfect. But I know that when it happens, the first instinct is you want to be angry, like you're perfect. I don't remember what, like, there's something in the Bible. I don't remember what the verse is, but it's something along the lines of, who am I to judge when I myself am imperfect? And it's the truth. You know, you can't judge people because you can fall to the same exact thing. Just because you haven't in that moment doesn't mean that you can't, you know? So forgiving is such an important thing. You know, and not only is it important to the other person, it's important to yourself. You know, why would you want to live your life with that, like, build up anger in your heart? You know what I mean? It's not good. It doesn't feel good. And it's not going to do you any good in the future. It's just going to keep building up and building up and building up, and it doesn't help you. So if I can leave you guys with anything, it's those three things, you know: going to God, dealing with it with love and compassion, and forgiving. You know, I think those are three really important things that, you know, I kind of saw when I was reading this and trying to figure out what I was going to talk about in this episode. So hopefully I can help you guys. This is going to be the first episode. I want to end it with a prayer, and then, yeah, the first episode will be in the books. So I'm going to pray real quick and then end the video. And, yeah. Dear Lord, thank you for helping me and everybody else with this message. I pray that you help us deal with these problems the way that it shows in the Bible, the way that Jesus did. I know that it's not always easy, and a lot of times it's hard and doesn't seem like the right thing to do, but I pray that you give us the strength and the courage to do it, no matter how uncomfortable it is. I pray that you help anybody who's watching this or listening to this that struggles with any sort of anger or bitterness in their heart, and I pray that you fill them with love and compassion, and I pray that you're there with them and you help walk them along the way. In your name I pray, amen. So that'll be the end of this video, guys. I hope I could help somebody with this, at least a little bit. You know, that's all I'm trying to get out of this. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll be back here soon with another video. So thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.